here to demonstrate to you this possibility of the transformation of our minds together. May I come and share this with you? Thank you for that. Thank you. Thank you for sharing with me a very fundamental possibility that the human condition must and will undergo a transformation of his mind. All right. And the idea now, at last, we have formulated an organization that is dedicated to a proposition of the mind transformation with no regard whatsoever to how it is going to occur within the matrix of the energy. Very simply because the idea of the change of mind is a constant procedure in the idea that the cognition of an alteration through transformation of the mind is going on here and now. Let's look, shall we? Just for a minute about the idea of what this institution is and what its provision for in its definition of itself and fundamentally what it hopes to do. And while there's no secret about it, I think somewhere we have to begin with a fundamental idea that wherever I am, in whatever condition of reality I appear to be in as Homo sapien, I am under constant observation of the possibility of a solution contained within the idea that the metamorphosis, the idea of an alteration of my consciousness, is going on simultaneously at this moment, although it's not possible for me to observe it. Let's listen together just for a moment about this, okay? Then we'll come back and maybe we can talk about the idea, all right, that the physicalness of your body identity, which is really what our concern is about, all right, can be stimulated by possibility that can be connected to virtually anything within the idea of a constancy of alteration of the mind that's going on. Will you listen with me? Let's look together about it. Have you ever met a person whose life was transformed? Maybe you knew someone who experienced a spiritual drama and felt deeply changed into a whole new state. Such transformations do happen, don't they? And we often wonder how. And we also wonder what happens to that person and what the consequences are to others in which it happens. The Spiritual Transformation Scientific Research Program of the Metanexus Institute on Religion and Science seeks to understand the phenomena of transformation and how they occur through both religious and secular experiences. Look, science and religion tend to be viewed as opposite ends of the spectrum, don't they? With a great deal of emotional overlay. As a result, scholars have often avoided studying spirituality and transforming experiences the way they study other phenomena. Now, the fact that researchers are now applying contemporary scientific methodologies to understanding beliefs and behaviors is itself a marvelous transformation. This is coming, incidentally, from the head of the Institute, Dr. Solomon Katz, who will be with us here in this interview that we intend to do. Now, what we intend to do, if you'll accept it from us, is read a little more about the challenge of the idea that you actually want to undergo an experience. What we're trying to do is leave the notions of religious and science as dedication to specific ideas about the phenomena, all right, and stay more with the idea of your allowance for your mind to change. They call me the master teacher. I teach the activity of a course in the miracle of a continuing necessity for change in your mind that's going to go on despite your observation of yourself in a particular. Now, in that regard, it's a challenge, isn't it? It's going to be a challenge, and we're going to have to perhaps explain the idea of how that transformation of the mind can be allowed to occur without the observation of it. Okay, let's review just a little bit about the idea of what we are really trying to do. Listen. Although there is wide acknowledgement that spiritual transformations occur and that they can have profound effect on the life of a person or a group or society, there have been few integrated scientific studies conducted that account for the nature of the various biological, physiological, and cultural conditions and factors that underlie spiritual transformation. And now we intend to have that experience. Now, what is spiritual transformation? As a starting point for SDP, a working definition was developed by the program's advisors with the understanding that this definition may be further developed as finding emerges within your mind. Here we go. Spiritual transformation is defined here as dramatic changes in world and self-views, purposes, religious beliefs, attitudes, and behaviors. And these changes are often linked to discrete experiences that can occur gradually or over relatively short periods of time, depending on your acknowledgement of it. This type of change usually occurs in three contexts. Listen. One, as an intensive devotion within the same religious structure, and we're all familiar with that. Perhaps this, a shift from no spiritual commitment to a devout spiritual life that seems to occur simultaneously, or perhaps a change from one faith tradition to another. These changes are sometimes by stress and anguish and induced through rigorous practices, but they can also occur spontaneously without apparent correlation of any kind. And I'm here just for a moment to remind you of that possibility. What we're trying to do in this spontaneous remission of ourselves is open up to possibilities that can occur at any time and any place in any feature of ourself in what we think this spontaneity of the change is. Did we see the three? This seems to take a long time. I'm a very religious person. I have no religion whatsoever. I have undergone an experience of a transformation for no apparent reason. Okay? Let's listen to just a little more. A number of studies and theological prospects are suggestive of the kind of research area involved in the phenomena of spiritual transformation. Insights can be derived from the cognitive sciences, coping theories, flow theories, attachment theories, and relationship dynamics, all of which pretty much represent what we're trying to do here. Practices may be important, such as pilgrimages, meditations, prayers, confessions, conversions, healing, the reading of sacred texts, telling one's story, and acts of services to others. Isn't this dramatic? These insights and practices raise many questions concerning the various pathways, contexts, outcomes, and techniques involved in what we are going to term spiritual transformation. A goal of this research program is to develop new and better integrated studies that address these emerging questions of your mind and your behavior within yourself.